Hello and welcome to CodeSure, a place to learn about medical coding and billing. We're going to take a deeper dive into the CDC browser tool for the ICD-10-CM. Consider this to be part 2. Understanding how to use the ICD-10-CM codebook is fundamental to coding, but using the CDC browser tool can be a big help, particularly when you're new, but it also serves as a resource and a support system for experienced coders. The browser tool was introduced in January of 2020. Let's take a closer look at how it works. The CDC browser tool serves as an index to all the tables in the ICD-10-CM. You can search the tabular list of diseases, external causes of injuries, table of neoplasms, and table of drugs and chemicals. Let's look closer at how this works. The CDC browser tool is found at the CDC website, and I'll be glad to give you a minute to get there. The URL is icd10cmtool.cdc.gov. The link can also be found below. The most prominent features are the two large search fields, the search for all terms and the search for codes. There's also a drop-down table so that you can adjust the search year. At this time, the search years are 2018 to 2020. There's also a list of returns for the 4 different tables with a gray circle and a number in it. We'll review all of this in greater detail. I want to draw your attention to the drop-down menu of the ICD-10 browser tool. Here you can change years from 2018 to 2020. At the time of this recording, 2019 is the default. The newest terms, recently published, are immediately updated at the ICD-10 browser tool. This can be very helpful if you have a codebook that may be a little dated or you're not sure if there's a new term and it's been modified. Also, it can help you historically if you may need to search a term from 2018. The 2 search fields occupy most of the space on the ICD-10-CM browser tool, the search field for term and the search field for code. But there's also a drop-down menu for year. You see that with the top arrow. Right now it's set to 2019. Use the drop-down menu and set it to 2020. Also, you've got the 4 tables that are found in the ICD-10-CM codebook located under the code field. Let's take a closer look at those. Now we've zoomed in on the 4 indexes that you can find in the ICD-10 browser tool. These are the same tables that are found in the ICD-10-CM codebook. Index to diseases and injuries, external causes of injuries, table of drugs and chemicals, and table of neoplasms. The gray circle that follows each of these indexes has a 0 in it. Once you perform your search, if there are returns located within those particular indexes, the number of returns will populate in the gray circle. All right, let's enter the term cervical vertebrae in the search for terms. CERVICAL-VERTEBRA. There you see in the gray circle following index to diseases and injuries the number 184. This broad return represents the broad term entered. So let's see what we get with the 184 returns. Once the 184 terms in the index to diseases and injuries is seen, you may place your cursor over any blue text and you will be linked to that return. Because there are so many returns for cervical vertebrae, let's narrow our search. Let's search cervical spondylosis, SPONDYLOSIS, and there you see the category M47.9. Let's search for cervical spondylosis without myelopathy. Let's first select M47.9, and that's going to return very many codes. Now let's begin to scroll down and search for spondylosis without myelopathy. There's spondylosis without myelopathy in the cervical region. Let's look at our notes. Notes M47.812. Use an external cause code following the code, if applicable, to identify the cause of the condition. We don't know the cause of the condition. This includes arthrosis or osteoarthritis of the spine. It also includes degeneration of the facet joints. And here we have an excludes to note. This means we may need to code other conditions. They're listed here. So I think we've got a pretty good code. Spondylosis without myelopathy in the cervical region, M47.812. Let's enter the term animal bite, and what we're really looking for are external causes of injuries. But when we enter the term, we find 351 returns indexed to diseases and injuries and 5 to external causes. We also find 9 to the table of drugs and chemicals. This is a good example of a term that will return to 3 of the tables. By selecting your table of choice, external causes of injuries, your return will be limited to the causes found in that particular index. Let's assume this bite was from a dog. Let's look at our returns. Well, we know it's not a marine animal, our first one. Contact accidental with animal non-venomous. Well, that sounds like our return, W64. Let's try an even broader term. Enter the term uterine, U-T-E-R-I-N-E. There you see 1,073 returns to the index to diseases and injuries, and 30 to the table of neoplasms. Once you link to your returns, you'll find the index to diseases and injuries are the 1,076 terms first. Scroll to the bottom, and there you'll see the table of neoplasms with your 30 returns. I hope this lesson was helpful in understanding how the ICD-10 browser tool at the CDC website correlates to the use of the ICD-10 codebook. Remember, if you have an outdated codebook, say a 2018 or 2019, you can come here and look through the browser tool and you'll find the updated code. Browser tool is updated immediately when the official update occurs. Thank you for joining me. The CDC browser tool is a big help when you're learning medical coding and billing. We're going to go over the legends in our next lesson. These can be intimidating in the codebook, but looking at them and identifying them through the browser tool and on your computer makes it a lot easier. So join me and we'll learn more. Thank you again.